Alrighty fam, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be talking through the Hero Arena, my recommendations. We're at week 2 out of 5 on this season's Hero Arena. So I'm going to talk through I did start it as you guys can see here, but I'm going to talk through what my team recommendations are, who I've been running. We did a stream of it last week and we did very bravely attempt Challenger, but transparently it just didn't work. And I'll explain why. For context, I am currently sitting at very, very close to 13 mil box CC. I have all the LR units. I have a lot of, engraved equipment and all that kind of good stuff. And we just didn't achieve Challenger. And the reason why mainly is because you kind of need to go first. There's a few different teams I tried. I obviously ran it with Lancelot, who's currently the special season unit, and we still died. Still couldn't make it past certain teams, and Champion was a heck of a lot easier. So I suppose my first ground rule for this season is I would highly, highly, highly recommend going first. There's not really a way around this, unfortunately. So look, this guide is kind of, if you can do Challenger, brilliant. If you can do Champ, cool, Master, like whatever you can do, I would just recommend doing with whatever you can do to go first. Now, as always, with Master, you get links. As soon as you get to Champion or high, you don't get links. So out CCing at 340k with no links, you'll probably have to be at least 13, 14 mil box CC roughly in order to get away with that. So we'll be doing Champion. And that's just kind of how it is because that's what I can out CC at the moment. So look, there are a few teams you can make work with potentially crit resistance or crit defense gear and rah. But if you just want to get it done and you don't want to spend hours and hours grinding away trying to go second, I tried Challenger, and on the first tower, I think I attempted it for about an hour and a half and I still didn't finish it. I only got down to, I think, about the demon team. So it's just, in my opinion, it's just straight up not worth it. So let's get into it. We're going to go first. I'm going to show you guys my team. We're going to very quickly run through it. These teams are super, super fast as well. So this probably won't be that long of a video either, just because I'll fly through it super quickly. So let's get into it. I'll explain it. We'll start here. We'll start with, Merlin's Death Spirit or whatever it is. I'm going to be running the Fairy team. Hopefully you have Lancelot. This is the team I'll be running as a setup. 4 alternatives, replacements, rather than this King, you could probably run Jelly King as well if you do have Jelly King. If you don't have Lancelot, you're not obviously going to get the special season buffs as well. So I probably would recommend this team. I'll run through a few other different types and recommendations for teams as we go through the other towers. But for how simple this team is going to be, if you have Lancelot, you have the fairies, like I said, King is a little bit replaceable. You can run, you could run Jelly King if you want to. I mean, you could honestly really run like a Helbram if you really wanted to as well, because King doesn't even really play too much of a part in this team, and I'll show you what I mean when I get through it. I'm going to be running obviously the fairy card set, right? So we're going to increase our attack and debuff. Our basic stats are going to go up by 12%, and our attack is going to go up by 30%. So we're going to hit really, really hard. And just literally, honestly, on everyone, I am running just plain old HP defense. There's not going to be anything crazy about these teams that I'm going to be running. I out C3 at 329, right? So obviously, once I get to 13 and a half, maybe box CC, I'm going to be able to out CC at 340. But for now, like I said, this will do. This is more than enough. So this is super straightforward. Our entire combo, pretty much for this entire run, is going to be buff with Elaine, single target with Glocks, and then AoE with Lancelot. Lancelot is going to decimate, right? As you can see, he just melts. The only time he doesn't melt is when we run into like the human team that has the damage cap. Like I said, if you don't have the fairy team, it is going to be quite well, not quite a bit, but it's going to be harder. Like I said, you could run Jelly King. I don't know how effective he's going to be though, because he's a bit older. So like I said, I'll run through a few different teams. I've got a couple of other options for you guys that you can run that I will showcase. But I'm going to be sticking to, honestly, the 3 easiest teams just to quickly speed through this. Now, the one thing with this one, is this one is a little bit more annoying because Lilia has the damage cap. So ideally, I do want to kill Roxy first. There we go. So because I killed Lilia straight away, it means the rest of them lost their damage cap and died, which is super helpful. So that's, again, just the combo, making sure I'm targeting the right person. Previously, I did target Roxy, because obviously Roxy's really the scary one there. Roxy did die immediately as well, even with the damage cap, which was nice, because we had the Mark of Insight too. And then, obviously, I just kind of cleaned up the rest and used King's Healing to finish it off. With this, again, this is pretty straightforward. I'm actually going to target Demon King because of his damage cap again. So pretty much just put your Mark of Insight on the person with the damage cap with this team. You might have to have a bit of a play around because you might not one-shot like this. Pretty much kill everyone apart from melee because of type disadvantage. So you may not one-shot like that, and that's totally cool. Just make sure you play around with kind of the different, may not play around, but like just make sure you're targeting the right person at the right time. So for example, that one I might want to kill Gelder if I wasn't going to one-shot everyone. I have done that in the past. So all we're going to do here is just finish off. Again, you do have Glock's Commandment as well. Unless you're obviously in the middle of Demon King, so just be aware of that and be careful. But we kill even with Glock's Commandment there, so that's quite nice. So as you can see, guys, this team is just super overpowered. It's really, really nice. Like I said, everyone's on HP defense, so I don't even have attack crit or anything crazy on these guys to try and increase my levels of damage. I just have basic ass stuff on it. And here, I think I'm going to mark Levi, because Levi can't get debuffed. So I have a feeling the other ones should die. But if not, again, I'm with LR King, I do have the healing card, right? Which is helpful. Yeah, there we go, cool. So everyone's dead. Again, you need Lancelot for this team. I wouldn't say this team is too out of pocket. I mean, you do have 2 LRs. You don't need to have everyone True Awakened like I do. Elaine's been around for a while, and she's been on a few banners. Glocks is a pretty key component of the Fairy team, and LR King is pretty decent. Like, LR King and Glocks are probably up there in some of the better ones of the LRs you could get, and with the free LR units and stuff. I don't think this team is too out of pocket in terms of what to expect. Now I'm just going to go straight for Jelly King, because Jelly King is obviously the one that could potentially do more damage to me with his bleed card and stuff, but I'm pretty sure he's going to insta-die here, so let's see. There we go, we're fine. And that's pretty much it. Buff, Glock's card, Lancelot AoE, like it's this team is not difficult. There's the first one. Okay, next ones. Now these next ones will obviously be a little bit, well, they won't have the same buff and stuff that I've had obviously with this one. So I'm just going to keep going along with Champ, because that's what I can do. I will be running the Unknown team. Right, so I've got Nanashi here for his basic stats. I've got Gotha, because I'm just going to rank up Milim, and I'm going to AoE with Nebula. So this team is more just like kind of a fun team. You don't have to run this team. Milim is kind of key, because Milim is absolutely broken. If you don't have Milim, then in terms of unknowns, who else could you run? You could run like Sabanak with Hell. You could run like Thor. We'll get to a demon team shortly with like Gelder and Demiurge as well. You could run Balder if you wanted to. You could run like a full counter team with Balder with like Albedo as well. You could run Philo. Philo's also kind of nice as well. That could potentially be nice with this team too, because I'll put her here and then she'll do additional damage. So the unknowns are super, super strong. I'd recommend picking Unknown. Tyr you could use. He's dropped off a little bit, but he still, I think, would be good as a tanking unit if you do need that. Just be careful with, you know, the abilities to kind of like one-shot. So if you don't, like, again, like, I have Nanashi with Holy Relic, which I highly recommend. Milim is just kind of broken. You don't have to run Nebula. You can run another buffer if you wanted to. You could run something like, you know, Ram to make yourself do even more damage. Again, you maybe want to taunt with something like Albedo, which will take away some damage for you, or Tyr as well. There's so many options with the Unknown team that really kind of the world's your oyster. You could even run, you know, Shuna with the team as well. I probably wouldn't recommend LR Rimuru, just because he's unfortunately kind of trash. But, you know, it is what it is, because like the teams we are facing, we've got, that's a Sabanak Tyr like team, right? Demon team, Fairy team, humans, and then, so like this team isn't that scary. Like this team is going to be easy to walk through. I think this team's going to be pretty straightforward. Just going to kill Roxy first. That's an old fairy team. So like these teams aren't super difficult. So whatever you want to build for an unknown, but this is by far the best combo I've found. Again, this one's just kind of more of a meme pick. And it's because and with this I just out CC. So ideally, like I would be running this unknown card set, but then I don't out CC, right? So that's on me. I think with attack, crit, HP defense, and HP defense, I don't get there, so I have to run this. So even with this team, I only just out CC, but then I haven't really invested too much in too many cosmetics and stuff like that for these guys, right? So like they're not, apart from Nanashi, because I use Nanashi obviously all the time. Or can I? Yes, good, okay. I can finish off Nanashi there. So like I've done it for Nanashi, of course, because he's always in use, but again, like Nub, I haven't, I would go through, I have. So I'm only really half invested in here, but let's use this team, and again, I'll show you guys what I mean. So again, it can be anything, it can be Albedo, it can be Sabanak. Sabinak's probably a good choice here as well, because you've got the double AoE, you could use into Milim. It really just depends, but my entire combo here is honestly just going to be the AoE, rank up Milim, and then the AoE, right? So even that shock is actually a decent-ish enough damage, because we do have like Nanashi and stuff for the additional damage, but this should pretty much just wipe because Milim things, right? So I've used her heaps in PvP, as you guys, well, I've used her and I've also gone up against her in PvP, and you guys know how bloody painful she can be, but that is pretty much just a strat. So these kind of teams that I'm going to be running is pretty much just the way you kind of speed run through Hero Arena. But so like, again, you want to out CC with the teams you have. The other options, the next option I'll be showing is a Demon team. I'll be showing some different ones for the Demon team, but you could also, I mean, if you really wanted to, like, we'll go through at the end and I'll go through some additional teams you could probably build as well. So then we'll go rank up. So like, you know, off the top of my head, I'm thinking you could run like a Fairy Giants team if you wanted to. You know, you could run things like, to be fair, this won't one-shot because of Demon King, right? But it should kill everyone else. Yeah, there you go, because of Milim's additional damage, right? So depending on who, hopefully he single targets here, rather than AoEs. Yeah. Oh, level 3 though. Who's he go after? Ooh, almost killed Narb. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm just going to double attack with Narb to make sure she doesn't die and get some lifesteal back with her. Because my lifesteal is only 9.5%, so nothing crazy. But again, like most of the time, I'm going to be able to one-shot, right? So I'm doing this just to try and get some healing back. I almost lost based on RNG there. Again, Narb's probably not the best pick. You could do something in something else like a tier maybe. An Albedo will be a great taunt. There's heaps of options at the Unknown team, like I was mentioning. But yeah, you could run a Fairy Giants team as well if you want to. You can run a human team, which I won't be showcasing in this, but you could with like Lancelot and stuff as well. There's lots of different options. It's kind of, yeah, it really does come down to like if you can out CC in this Hero Arena, you're in a good spot. There was places before where, you know, if you went second in the previous Hero Arenas with things like tier and stuff like that, you could kind of make it work, but it's, I found it's not really doable anymore, unfortunately. Just with some of the people like they've added to the roster and some of the units and stuff like that, there is a chance my Narb dies here, transparently, right? I've only got 2 teams to go, but there is a chance that Narb dies. I don't think so, because I still think I'm going to one-shot everyone here, because I've also got the death damage with Milim, right? So this is where Milim also comes in pretty clutch, because we'll do 50% of damage with LR Lilia, but we should do a bunch of additional damage. And should kill Roxy at least. No, okay. This could be interesting. This could be a problem. Roxy might kill my team here, but she will probably go after one of the type advantages. Yeah, so doing 1 damage. So again, this is where Milim is broken, because he does shit like that. So stupid. So we're going to heal up a little bit with the squad. Or just the ones that have taken a little bit of damage. Again, it's not really a big deal because I'm going to one-shot the next phase. Because this team is just stupid. Like, it's just insane. So again, these are teams for speedrunning. I like being able to get through Hero Arena as quickly as possible. There's just something about it I'm not the biggest fan on. I don't know. I find it can be very, very frustrating. I think, here you go, I think I figured it out. The rewards to time spent ratio isn't there, right? Like if I'm spending like an hour and a half trying to do one tower, but I get 10 LR coins for it, you know, when we get given 100 for free, it's just not it. It's just not it for me. So, yeah. And that's floor 2. All right, we're going to crack on with floor 3. And like I said, we are running Demon Team. So we're just going to do this one, do this, battle. And this was the Demon Team I was running. You can run a different team. Obviously, if you don't have Demiurge, you can. So the other Demon Team I was running was actually, I was doing DK. And then I was also doing like one of the support units as well with like Chandler or like Cusack. And then basically it's just a triple AoE, which I'll show you guys. I actually have old Estarossa here. And the reason for that is because... I'm actually going to put him on HP defense just so he CC. Was because I like having the basic stats from the Darkness. I like applying the Darkness, and I think it's really, really helpful. We have the Demon card set. Everyone's HP defense apart from Demiurge. And this is just basically a triple AoE team again. Like the idea is let's just use as many AoEs, powerful AoEs as we can to get through this as quickly as possible. So again, look, if you don't have Gelder, you don't have Demiurge, rather than Demiurge is not like a must-have in this team at all. I've done it multiple times with other ones. You can even pick a, like I said, a support unit in terms of like a Chandler or a Cusack. I think they're both great. Those two are both great options. You can put Demon King in there as well. Demon King is more kind of a helpful, like clean up the fight kind of one, because obviously he really kind of kicks in with his damage in terms of turn 2 or 3 it'll be. So yeah, and obviously you can use the new Halloween Estarossa if you've got him as well. Just don't run him with Demon King. But this is the team that I like to run because hopefully, as you guys will see, we're just going to basically go through and one-shot everyone. I think there's a few teams that we do in 2 turns. Like we don't even get to the third card. So 1, 2, and then we've got Max Gelder. Max healing for Gelder to do the most amount of damage. But as you can see, pretty much isn't even really needed. We do it in 2 turns. Or 2 cards, should I say. So again, those darkness stacks are great, especially in Hero Arena, because you get 4 stacks of darkness, right? So you immediately get like a lot more stacks. So the time you're throwing out your third AoE, you've got 8 stacks of darkness on the enemy team, which just melts, which is awesome. So yeah, like I said, these are my speedrun teams. We'll have a look at some other teams towards the end, but these are the ones that I like to run. There are variations of it that you can run, but this is the quickest way to do the most damage. It's also kind of fun just doing this much damage. I don't know, like, you know, there's nothing cooler than seeing like a big AoE wipe the team. Boom, you know, like it's just, I don't know, I like it. If you can't do this much damage straight up and you can't insta-wipe, you'll be okay with this kind of demon team, but this is where, you know, teams like, you know, maybe like a giant fairy team is going to come in quite clutch for you, right? Like it's going to be, you're going to have, you know, giant DN, you can even run LR King as well. LR King will have the heal, DN will have obviously the nice taunt, you can then run another giant or another fairy. So there are different combinations of those teams you can run. You can run a Sins team. Sins team's probably one of the easiest ways to out CC with LR DN, you know, Green Escanor, and then you could run, you know, DK Melee, or you could even run, here you go, so that one, they actually survived to the final one, but it doesn't matter. Then you can run DK Melee, you could run UR Gopher, so there's definitely a few options you can run, but the main thing I'd recommend is out CC, and try and go for teams that basically you can just insta-wipe with, because it just gets you through them quicker. You know, we're basically done, right? So that was, what, 20 minutes of me explaining stuff getting through Hero Arena, so I'll probably do in about 15 if I just sped run the whole thing with these teams, and that's kind of what I'm about. Card sets, you obviously always probably want to run the card sets related to that particular race or units you're running, right? So 7 Deadly Sins card set, or you could run, fairies, demons, as you've seen me run, unknown card sets, that kind of stuff. But obviously, if you're really just looking to out CC, HP defense on everyone, and then the max combat card set you can run will give you a decent chunk of additional CC. So if you're very close to that next level, let's say you're super close to champ or you're super close to challenger, just use those, and that will really help you just kind of tip it over the edge. And like the difference isn't going to be, I don't think, anything too crazy in terms of like what that card set will bring you versus HP defense versus attack crit. Like the difference of going first is way more important than those card sets or like attack crit gear, for example. Now, if you get to that level and you realize it is too difficult and you're not doing enough damage or whatever it is, you might then still need to drop down one. And that's okay, but I'd recommend trying to get for as high a CC as you can on all your top teams and then trying those ones. And then if that doesn't work, then you can drop down. And that's the Hero Arena, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Those are my teams that I run. Like I said, I'll very quickly show you guys a couple of other teams that maybe you could look at running. Goddess team would work. Where is it? Goddess team would work, right? So if you want to run a Goddess team, that will still work, I think. Obviously, you kind of want like Holy Relics, like Ella, Margaret. You've got Mael. You could swap this out as well. You could swap this out for, you don't have to have LLs. LLs would be good for the healing, but yeah, if you're running Elat, you also don't need that. Ragnarok team, you could run a Ragnarok team. I'm not a massive fan of that. This is obviously a giant team. This was for Knighthood boss, but with LRDN, you could swap a few of these out, right? So like, rather than this, again, you could run with King, and then you could also have Skadi who could do some damage for you, and you could also even run Blue Skadi as well, right? So like, again, it really just depends on who you've got invested into. So human team-wise, yes, you could run LR Lilia if you wanted to. Green Escanor, I think, would be a clutch run. Lancelot, if you've got him, you could run Roxy if you're out CC. If you need a bit more heal, you could run New Light Percival. So there's not really like a specific team or a specific set of equipment I would recommend. As long as you out CC and you can do a decent amount of damage, I think that'll do well. But out CC is the key thing, right? So hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.